I get accepted in another program, I'm gonna have some major work to do on my roots.
I love being a girl!
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Ariana and this is my revamped version of Ariana Does Disney. I'm going to be inserting videos on tips and tricks on how to survive the Disney Cultural Exchange Program and the Disney College Program. Today's video is going to be super exciting, kind of, but not really. It's actually very informative and I think it's probably going to be one of the most important videos that I'm going to have on this channel. It's going to be how to save during your program because I was really bad at that. Like really bad at that. I've made a list so I can stay on track during this video and hopefully not ramble too much. But this is going to be such an informative video and hopefully I can help anybody who's embarking on this journey or already there. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing on my list might not apply too much to people who are in the Disney College Program, but for those hopefuls, future or current cultural exchange program participants, it definitely applies to you and definitely to the Canadians. So program fees. There are some hefty fees, but they go to good places, so definitely keep some money set aside for that. When you first get accepted into the program, you have initial fees to pay that go towards your first 2 weeks of rent since you won't get paid until 2 weeks after you begin your program, and it'll go towards housing events like grocery bingo, welcome events, and so much more. They're super exciting and I would highly recommend attending them. Secondly, you'll be paying for international healthcare insurance. All of that together I think roughly comes to about $700 American, so you'll want to keep that saved up or set aside because that is quite a big amount of change. Next is travel fees, whether you're flying or driving, that's something you'll want to keep in mind. If you have to renew your passport, you'll be getting a police background check, all that jazz. That's just kind of the basics of it all for when you first get accepted. Now into the more exciting stuff, housing. So when you're looking for roommates and all that fun stuff, housing can be really exciting, but something I learned while I was there was the housing fees. When you're paying for rent, I lived in the Commons, which was amazing. I had a washer and dryer in my apartment, which is unheard of. All the other apartment complexes in Disney, you actually go to like a community or a communal area and you have to wait, use quarters or a card or something like that to get your clothing washed. Whereas where I lived, I could just do it in the comfort of my home. However, you do pay a little bit extra a week for that. When you're signing up for housing, when you're choosing roommates, you're allowed to put down your preferences and which kind of complex, how many rooms, how many people you'd like to live with, all that kind of stuff, which was really awesome. Something I'm definitely going to be keeping in mind this time around if I get accepted is which complex I'm going to live in, because trust me, that extra $10 a week for rent is a huge deal. I can sacrifice not having a washer and dryer in my complex to have an extra $10 a week. It's major, and from talking to people who did the program the same year as me, they said that it doesn't make a big difference. And I know people who have lived in the Commons and then lived in other complexes a year after, and they said really it's no different. And they loved it. Some people have actually loved living in other complexes even more. So it's something major to keep in mind if you really want to be saving that extra dollar, because some weeks, not gonna lie, I was living off of $1 a week. Maybe less. I will include a link in the description box below of the updated housing fees that I could find online, so you can take a look at that and see what you're most interested in. From my understanding right now, most apartment complexes are actually renovated, so you really can't go wrong. And as for bugs and lizards, all of the apartments have bugs and lizards. It's Florida, it's inevitable. They become your best friend after a while. Next, make a budget. Budgeting is so important. I actually did make a budget for my program. Did I stick to it? No, I didn't stick to my budget. Should I have? Yes. Would I have saved money? Yes.
Would I have lived off of more than $1 a week? Oh, yes.
When I say make a budget, I mean before you go, before you get to Florida, before you get to Walt Disney World, look online into the things that you'd like to do and pre-plan these things, see how much they're gonna cost, and say, hey, I'd like to do this week, I'd like to do this week. That way you're gonna know how much you're gonna end up spending throughout the summer and you know how much to save. Obviously things are gonna come up and obviously you're gonna end up spending more than that, but at least you'll have an idea and you'll know how much money you're gonna end up with by the end of your program. I guess I shouldn't say summer because everyone's program is different, but right now I'm kind of just going off of like my program, so bear with me here. Second last thing on my list is sleep on it. Don't make impulsive purchases. Let me give you a quick example of an impulse buy.
This guy. This guy right here was an impulse buy.
I don't regret buying him, but he was an impulse buy. Oh, his head's a little floppy. I'll tell you the story behind this. The first 2 weeks of my program, I didn't get paid yet, as I mentioned before. So I had very limited money with me, and I decided, I'll go like a week without groceries. It's fine. I love this guy. I want him ever so badly. So what do? Instead of buying food, I bought a life-size Stitch. Yep. Do I regret buying him when I did? Yes. I don't regret buying him, but I regret buying him when I did. So this is what I mean by sleeping on it. I think that if you really want something badly enough, you can definitely budget for it and you can buy it later on, but don't sacrifice a week's worth of eating for a stuffed animal. You can afford it. Believe me, you can afford it.
But don't starve yourself for a stuffed animal.
Another example of an impulsive buy, but something that I do regret purchasing, is I lived like a 2-minute walk from the outlet mall because I was at the Commons and there's an outlet mall literally like 2 seconds across the street from where I was. So I would walk across the street and there was a Disney outlet store, and like at the very beginning of the month, every month, they got brand new stock in. So strategic little Ariana here would go over at the beginning of the month and be like,
I see you, new stuff.
and what did I do? I just buy everything. And then I'd look at all this stuff I just bought and opened and used already and be like, huh, yeah, why? And now that I have it back home here in Canada, I don't use any of it. So this is what I mean when I say sleep on it, because you'll come back home and you won't use half of this stuff. Like, I have so many Disney shirts, like with Disney characters all over it, and I'm gonna be 23 in April, and I'm not gonna be wearing half of those shirts. Like, I went to Florida with lots of Disney shirts. I already own lots of Disney shirts, but I could have just kept those instead of buying a bunch while I was there. Obviously, there's a couple of unique pieces that you can buy while you're there because some of the stuff they have is just out of this world awesome. I came home with just so much stuff that's just sitting at the back of my closet that I should have slept on. And Disney has this great app now, and I totally forget what it's called. And I feel like an awful person because I forget what it's called. Bad Ariana, bad. It's like Disney Parks app, something like that. But I got trained on it like right before I left. And I know it's open to the public to use, but it'll actually show you like the stock that's available in the park of the items you want. So you can sleep on it and then find out where else you can get it in the park if it's out of stock, like where you wanted it. So that's another really great thing. You can always find it anywhere else too. So always think before you buy something, because you don't want to end up like me. Just don't do it. Don't end up like me.
Okay, I don't want to ramble anymore. Okay.
Last thing on my list is meal planning. I didn't really do this while I was there, but I have a couple friends who are in the program right now, the Disney College program, not the cultural exchange, but I think it's really smart to meal plan when you buy groceries, cook for the week or a couple days, freeze it, put it in the fridge, and have your meals. That way you can just get up, take it, go to work, and you won't be tempted to spend your money at the cafeteria at your work, which I did a lot. And it gets expensive, and then again, you're out of money really fast. So I think I'll be doing that if I go back. Meal planning. Who would have thought? Probably a lot of people, but did I? No. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. My list isn't very big. It was kind of all over the place, but hopefully that wasn't super fall asleep-esque. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into my channel, and for anyone new, welcome again, and hit that subscribe button. I always love to see new subscribers, and feel free to message me because I love to chat. So I hope to see you all real soon.